What's going on, everyone? So Los Angeles Lakers are back at it tomorrow in LA for Game 3 against the Memphis Grizzlies, and it'll be the first time that a full crowd can be at Staples Center since LeBron James has came to the Lakers. I got to remember that first year the Lakers didn't make it to the playoffs. Then you get Anthony Davis, 2020, no crowd whatsoever, the bubble year, and then after that you had limited capacity in stadium. So this will be the first time that the entire place will be jumping and jiving and grooving, and I'm excited to see what that crowd looks like. But the Lakers need to feed into that energy. They have a real opportunity here. Memphis, they are not a good road team. They only won 16 games on the road. They were the best road or home team in the entire league. Lakers handle business. They got game one on the road. It would have been nice to get game two, but still, did anyone really think that they were going to just sweep the Memphis Grizzlies? Likely not. Lakers are still trying to figure a lot out, and that's why I said as this series and the playoffs in general continue to progress, assuming the Lakers come out of the first round, which I believe they will, this team should only get better. Guys should only pick up and get more consistent, which is what I want to talk about, is the consistency, right? Lakers in game one were a model of consistency, literally. Like, everybody was chipping in. They had, five guys who nearly scored 20 points. D'Angelo Russell, he was the only one with 19. Outside of that, you had several guys. You had four guys with 20 plus, and Rui, Reeves, LeBron, and AD. And it was just such a great balanced attack. The Lakers basically controlled that game start to finish. Then game two, we saw just a real lackluster performance. Outside of Rui Hachimura and LeBron James, no one really brought it, right? D'Lo was terrible. Austin Reeves was like, okay. Nothing really great to write home about. Anthony Davis was dominant on the defensive end, but offensively just didn't have it. And it's becoming a concern, right? Because you've kind of seen that with this team as the season has progressed. They're just really great for a game or two, and then they just kind of play down to their competition. And in the playoffs, you can't do that. Now, hopefully, as we continue to progress throughout the playoffs, teams don't have their star player end up going out, because then the Lakers will probably bring it every single night. But regardless, whoever's in front of you, your job is to get that done. Handle the team that's in front of you. And look, Memphis, to their credit, they had their backs against the walls. They, again, are the best home team in the entire league. They are, in every statistical category and metric, actually better without Ja Morant than they are with Ja Morant. However, I don't think that they're a better team without Ja, but still, it's something that that is worth noting. And this is a team that knew that if we lose game two, that's it, it's over. And they came with the intensity. Credit Tillman. Tillman had one of the best games of his career, if not his best game of his career, so he really stepped up. And the Lakers just didn't match the energy. But that can't be the problem going forward. The Lakers are going to have to win road games. They're going to very likely potentially have to win multiple road games unless they win every game at home. But even then, you still have to win at least one road game, because you're going to play this entire playoffs as the underdog. You're not going to have home court, so you're going to have to steal home court in all those games. And if you don't win one of those two road games to start, you could be in real trouble, because that just adds so much pressure to win game 2 and 3. So you can't, 3 and 4. So you can't have these stagnant moments. You can't have these games where guys just don't show up. We gotta have that fire night in and night out, and we gotta have that consistency night in and night out. The beauty of this team and their depth is it can be different guys every night, but it has to be different guys every night, right? We didn't see that in game 2. What it was two guys showed up and everyone else had like mediocre to terrible games. If you had Rui and LeBron James play the way that they played, and Anthony Davis and, say, Schroeder played half decent on the offensive end, we probably win that game. I mean, as poorly as the Lakers played, they were still in that game with like 2 minutes left. So that, to me, just raises my bar of confidence. It's frustrating, of course. It's infuriating because you had a real opportunity, but it gives me that confidence of like, okay, like, we played one of the worst games that we could have played as a team, and we still had opportunities to beat the Memphis Grizzlies on the road with a team that has, by, again, every metric, played better without Ja Morant. And even won, didn't they blow out Golden State last year with this same lineup? Right? So, I mean, and Golden State won the championship last year. So I'm not really concerned with one game, but I don't want to see it become a habit or a pattern. No, because here's the thing. Is Rui going to be able to give you 20 points every single night? I do believe he's capable of that, but even stars have bad nights, right? Even stars have off shooting nights. You see guys Anthony Davis, right? We've seen LeBron James have bad nights, right? So, like, to trust that Rui is going to give you at least 20 a game for 7 games, hopefully not. Hopefully it's at least 4 games and you win all 4 of those games. But he's already done it for 2. So, and yes, maybe he does do it the rest of this series, but is he going to be able to do it the next series and the next series, right? You need guys that can come in and multiple guys that can go and give you 15 plus points. Now, I believe Rui can score in double figures every single night, but there's a difference between 10 points and 20 points. That could be the difference between you winning and losing a game. So if Rui does let's say he gives us 15, which would still be a really good night, but it's not 20, and if no one else shows up, then again, you're having a bad night. We still haven't seen that Schroeder game where Schroeder plays, I'm not even talking about great and goes off for 30. I'm talking about just half decent and he just shows up and gives us like 15. We haven't seen a game like that. Anthony Davis, obviously we haven't seen that dominant game from him. Austin Reeves, we saw a great closeout game, but I need a little more consistency from him, right? It's great that you have that monster game, that closeout game. That's great. But we need to see more consistency. I'm not saying you have to go get 25 in a game, but can you give us 15 or more efficiency? He gave us, 12 last game, but it wasn't very efficient, and it was very quiet. It was very quiet 12. We need that loud, 15, 20 points from Austin Reeves. D'Angelo Russell, great first game, terrible second game. And that's something that he's got to figure out, because that's been a real concern with D'Angelo Russell in the playoffs. Is he a guy that can play and stay consistent during the playoffs? Which, he hasn't really shown. He had a great game 1 against the Memphis Grizzlies. He scored 19 points. He did start off slow. He was like 0 of 4 or 1 of 5 or something like that, or 0 of 5 to start the game, but then really picked it up and shot like 60% the rest of the way, ended up getting 19 points, dished out, 7 assists or whatever, where in this game you saw he had 5 points, 2 of 11 shooting. He did have 7 rebounds, and he did have 4 assists, but he also had 3 turnovers, right? Like, if he didn't have any turnovers and he just had a poor shooting night, gave you 7 rebounds and, say 5 or 6 assists, okay, right? Like, he just didn't have it offensively, but he was able to still contribute in other areas. But we need the consistency from him. And I'm not saying he has to go, again, score 20 a night, but he's a 17-point per game guy. Even if he has less production in the playoffs, can he be 15, right? Like, can you give us 15 a game? Because now if you get Austin Reeves, right, you get D'Angelo Russell, you get Rui Hachimura, you get Dennis Schroeder, now you got 4 guys right there that are all giving you 15 plus a night. One of them ends up, say, gives you 22 to 25. Well, now you got like 2/3 of the scoring you need. Now, you add in LeBron's 25, and you add AD's, 25, and now you're at 120 points, and you're going to win those games, right? But it's got to be a consistent effort every single night. The Lakers love to start slow, pick it up in the 3rd and 4th quarter, and yes, during the regular season, can you get away with that? Sure. But in the playoffs, you can't. In the playoffs, you got to play a full 48 minutes. Because you can't rely on, we'll just coast the first half, and then in the second half we'll pick it up, and then we'll win those games. We've seen them win a lot of those games, and we also have seen them lose some of those games. And you can't have that flip-flopping. You got to have that consistency. You have to bring that energy. You have to bring the focus and intensity. And this is a concern with this team in general because of the lack of experience. Outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, yes, everybody pretty much has played in the playoffs at some point, but they don't have heavy playoff minutes or games or things like that to where it's like, oh man, they have a world of experience. So how much of that is just the lack of experience? How much of that is the lack of chemistry? And this team just hasn't been together all year. that can be a real thing too, which is why I think the longer they go on in the playoffs, the more likely that intensity continues to pick up, and we have fewer and fewer games like Game 2. I think the Lakers really do need to get out of this first round, because that'll just build confidence, that'll get all the jitters, that'll work out all the kinks and all that stuff. And I do expect a better performance in the second round than we saw in the first round, which if they can do that, then they can beat anybody, right? I mean, they've already shown that they can beat a Memphis Grizzlies team. Game 1, Ja Morant played 90% of that game or 95% of the game. Like, he didn't get hurt till the end of the game. So they had Ja in that game the entire time. He gave them 18 points and all that stuff. Like, so it wasn't like the Lakers started this series and there was no Ja and it was like, oh, how are they going to, perform against them and blah, blah, blah. No, you had them, you dominated them, you slept on your opponent in Game 2, didn't show up with that intensity. My hope is, as they continue to progress, we see less and less of that. We see a more confident team. We see a more established team. We see a team that has better chemistry and better build. That's what I expect to see. Got to win these 2 games in LA. Massive. You cannot lose one of these games, right? You have to win these 2, get the job done. I do believe that they will. They have everything in their court. They have the tools, they have the team, they have the intangible, they have everything that you could possibly want to win these 2 home games against the Memphis Grizzlies, right? You have the home crowd. They're going to be, pumping and grooving, and it's going to be great, and you're going to be able to feed off that energy. They need to bring the intensity and match the crowd. The crowd is going to be live. You need to match that crowd and use that to your advantage. You're playing a team that's not good on the road at all. So capitalize on it. And then hopefully we're looking at Game 5 going into Memphis, trying to close them out. At worst, we come back to LA, win the game in LA, and the series is over in 6. All the Lakers have to do the rest of this series, just win at home. You win all your home games, you win the series. It's that simple. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Think the Lakers do it? Think they don't? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know.